Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, everybody. Come on and tune in. We are live. I'm Mary Grace. This is Mary Grace Media, Real Talk with Mary Grace. Is anybody coming in? I, I can't tell. Okay, I'm running a little bit late today. How's the volume? Can everybody hear me all right? Hello. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Good to see everybody. Welcome. There we go. So I guess the sound is good. All right, good. Good. Okay, great. Good to see everybody. I'm happy to see everybody and welcome. All right, looks like Facebook is working today. Facebook was not working the other day. I don't know why. And so, oh well, their loss. Uh, I hope everybody had a good weekend. I was at a wedding. It was really nice, really beautiful. Everybody from California, hello, good to see you. On Facebook, please share this into groups that you belong to. That helps us get around all the whatever algorithms. And if you're on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell so that you'll get reminders when I go live. That would be great. And what else? I'm on Clout Hub channel 111. And just a reminder, as you're coming in to the call today or to the show, that I'm going to be traveling the next few days, and so I may or may not be online. If I do, it probably will be at different times. So just keep your notifications on. I'm going to be at the Health and Freedom Conference down in Tulsa. I'm pretty excited about that. I think I told you that this conference went from, I think, 450 people at a hotel convention center to 4,500 people at Rhema Bible College, and they had over 50,000 requests for tickets. And so, if you're tempted to despair and you're thinking that people are not awake and that things are going downhill and that patriots are not really making any progress or paying attention, don't despair, because 50,000 people or more wanted to come to this event. And the best thing is that the mainstream media was not allowed. They were put in timeout where they belong, and they were not given a seat at the table. So that is pretty fantastic. I also wanted to tell you there was an event in Vegas over the weekend. Ann Vandersteel was there, Patrick Byrne was there, a lot of other patriots. So there's a lot of grassroots activity happening. There was an event down at Doral in Miami over the weekend, and the George News team was there. So just take heart, because there's a lot going on. And it looks like, for example, they just found a venue to do the audit, the forensic audit of the votes in Arizona. That's a big deal in Maricopa County. And I also heard that there is some pretty explosive stuff coming out with regard to the vote, with regard to some of the litigation that's going to be happening, with regard to some of the with regard to some of the revelations and exposures of what's been going on. So don't lose heart. It's actually good, and it's important, the things that people are doing. I'm signing up to be a delegate in Virginia for the governor's race. We have a convention here for the government, and or for the governor, and so the way that works is that delegates delegates vote for their candidate. They cast votes for their candidate. And I don't know exactly how it works. I think in the past they had they would do it in a big convention center, and everybody would be on the floor. It's like an all-day event, and people were swapping votes and negotiating and lobbying, a little bit like the stock market. And I think, because of the Rona, because of the Rona, I don't. They're doing like virtual conventions. So stupid. But in any case, I'm signing up to be a delegate, and I'm going to be casting my vote for Joanne Chase. She's running for governor in Virginia, and of course, the stupid guy that they're promoting through the RNC is, as far as I can tell, a rhino. He's saying all the right words and he's pushing all the right buttons, but at this point, anybody that the RNC endorses, I would run really fast the other direction from them. That's just my opinion. You do what you want, but my observation is that they are not on the side of the American people. So that's just my observation. Okay. Um, somebody was looking for, hey, Marianne, I'm live. And so it's been a really busy couple of days. I apologize that I came on late, but I am here now. All right. So slow down with the links in the chat here. It makes it really hard for people to um, yeah, stop, please. It makes it really hard for people to see the chat. Just stay on topic, please. We're just stay on topic. I know that people have information about specific things. Please share that on your Facebook, not in the chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's really hard to go back and read the chat as it is. So just please refrain from putting extra stuff in there. All right. Now, what was I going to say? Where was I? I was talking about what I was doing, busy going to the conference. I'm going to be doing a road trip. I'm kind of excited about that. And what else? Oh, I wanted to tell you, I put as my topic today about wokeism, but I wanted to go on another track to start with today, because there was something that okay, you know what? I don't need that. There you go. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let me just talk about what was I just got lectured. I just got lectured by somebody on my Facebook page. It's crazy. It's like I'm in the middle of a live stream. I'm asking you not to spam the chat with your agenda. I talk about these topics. Just because I don't want you spamming my chat doesn't mean that I don't care about these topics. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to fall. I'm not going to give into your guilt trip. I'm not going to do that. That goes for everybody. I'm not going to be manipulated like that into shifting my entire broadcast to your agenda and spam and allowing you to spam the chat so that people can't stay on topic. That's not why we're here. So if you don't like it, you can watch another live stream. Just simple. Okay. Now, let me shift here. I wanted to talk about something because I was listening to a teaching over the weekend, and it was Hank Kunneman was talking, and he was at Kent Christmas's church. They were doing a conference, and it was something that I thought it was a little line that he put out there, but it really caught my attention. And he said that he was talked about King David. He was talking about the culture, and he was talking about the place that we are as a nation and how we've gotten to the place that we are. And he mentioned the fact that King David at the time, King David was actually home. He stayed home when his nation was at war. And it really struck me that he said that, that he mentioned that. That wasn't the whole focus of his talk, but he put that in as an to illustrate a point that he was making. And so I've been thinking about it. I've been pondering it because I think that specific situation is illustrative of what has actually happened in our nation. And what do I mean by that? So I want to read this to you. This is in 2 Samuel 11. It says, hold on, let me get off of this version. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, here we go. Then it happened in the spring, at the time when kings go out to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the sons of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David stayed at Jerusalem. And those of you who know this story know that that was the time when David became tempted by Bathsheba because he was home and he saw her bathing on the roof. She was the wife of one of his leaders, his military leaders. And and so I think it's really interesting though, because the thing that there are a couple of things stand out to me. First of all, it's then it happened in the spring at the time when kings go out to battle. It was a time of year that was known for battle. And so David had made a conscious decision to stay home. We don't know why he did that, but it was a conscious decision. So it wasn't like a battle sprung up and he was in the middle of something and he couldn't go. It wasn't like he was planting crops or doing something like that would have kept him from going to battle. This was a seasonal thing, and he had other people to do those things because he was the king. And and so he had made a conscious decision to stay back from the battle. And I think that's significant, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute and tell you why I think that's significant. And then the other thing that it says is that he sent out the army. He sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the sons of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David stayed in Jerusalem. I think it's interesting that even though he stayed behind, his army was still winning, and and so they managed to win and have victories even though he stayed behind. However, the things that happened as a result of him staying home actually resulted in tragedy. There was tragedy that came out of his decision to stay home. And because he stayed home, he opened himself up to temptation, and he unleashed an entire string of events that damaged other people's lives. And I think that, so the story goes that, he saw Bathsheba bathing on the roof. He was tempted by her. He called for her. He sent for her. She came. They slept together, and then a child was conceived. That child became Solomon. In the meantime, though, uh, Bathsheba's husband came home, Uriah, and he wasn't supposed to. He wasn't supposed to be home, and or he was. Sorry. Um, Let me back up. So she became pregnant, and David knew that he was the father, and so he sent for the husband and had him come home, so that, because he knew when men come home from battle, they're going to want to be with their wives. And so he thought he could cover up his sin by having Uriah come home. He would be with his wife. And then she would tell him she's pregnant, and he would think it was his child, et cetera, et cetera. It didn't go as planned because Uriah wanted to keep himself pure for battle. And oh, that child died. Sorry, Solomon was born later. I apologize. So I'm mixing up the story. Thank you, guys. Let me rephrase this. Okay, so the child so Uriah did not sleep. He didn't sleep with his wife. Okay. He went back into battle. And so David was actually now in a bind because because he had schemed and planned, and he made a plan that didn't come together, because Uriah actually wanted to honor him, and it was just everything that he planned like came back on him. It was like a disaster. Everything that he thought he could do to fix it turned into a disaster. Now, the end result of this, like, God used it for good, because Solomon ended up being born after Bathsheba married David. It's a longer story. Here's the thing that I wanted to say. It all started with a decision that David made. David was in a position of authority, and all of this started. I encourage you to go read it. I don't want to spend the whole episode talking about this. It's 2 Samuel 11. Okay, so it all started when the king, a person in leadership, made a decision that was really out of character. Like it was a bad decision. It's a decision he shouldn't have made. I still don't know why he did it, but he decided not to go into battle with his men. And that one decision led to a cascade of events that resulted in lie upon lie upon lie and disaster upon disaster upon disaster. God still turned it around, but that didn't change the fact that a lot of lives were really hurt and damaged because of what he did. And so I was thinking about this because I was thinking about the America. I was thinking about our nation. I was thinking about the West, because what I've noticed and what I think is what I think we're seeing right now in America is a similar situation. I think that the church in America was put into a position of authority during the Jesus movement, when so many lives were being saved, and then the charismatic movement came out of that, and the evangelical movement, et cetera, et cetera. And what happened during that time, I believe, resulted in where we are now as a nation. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that the leaders and the people with the kingly anointing, all, for the most part, left the mountains of influence that they were in, and a lot of them went into ministry. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And even if they didn't go into ministry, they made conscious decisions not to go into the fight in the mountains of influence. They left the universities, they left culture, they left business to the non-believers. And I think that because of that, conscious decision of the people with the leadership anointings to leave their faith at the door and not to go into the battle, not to battle in those areas of influence, I think that a lot of what we're seeing right now is a result of that. That's really the point that I wanted to make, is that that David was anointed king, and that believers we're starting to get it. We're starting to see that believers can be that believers are called into different areas of influence. And so what happened, though, at that time, whether it was, I think a lot of, it was intentional. People made intentional decisions not to bring their faith into those areas of influence. And because of that, we're seeing just destruction. We're seeing a lot of consequences play out because people made those decisions not to go into battle. The people with very strong anointings for leadership, for the arts, for business, for education, those people, just even though they showed up physically, they left their Christianity, their true belief, at the door. And that's a big problem. And so you have, you have people now like Johnny Enlow, who are coming and teaching Christians and challenging them to come back into the mountains of influence. I think that, and then so you see that part of it, but then you also see what went on in the church. The leaders in the church also made the decision not to fight. They made the decision to focus more on building and on numbers and on finances than on actually winning souls and fighting the fight. and teaching people to put on the armor of God, teaching people about the cross, about the power of the blood of Jesus. None of that. They took all of that away. And what else did they do? They actually allowed they actually, just like in the story of David, um, when you are not battling, when you're not engaged, when you're not walking in your kingly anointing, and when you're out of your lane, you're open to the temptations that will come. And then the consequences come out of that. So you look at a lot of Christianity today. It's really just, secular living with the label of Christianity. I mean, you look at the homes, you look at Christian homes, and if you walk into a lot of Christian homes today, what would you see that would separate them, distinguish them from a secular home? I mean, their kids are reading Harry Potter, their kids are watching Netflix, their kids are on their tablets all day long watching God knows what on YouTube. Their kids are playing shooter games. They're, whatever it is they're doing, the temptations of life are coming in because those people in the positions of the kingly anointings are are not engaging in the fight. Uh, for example, pornography is rampant among Christians. It's a big problem. It's a huge area of addiction. Why is that? Well, let's go back and look at David and look at one decision that he made to stay home, and he opened himself up to temptation. That's just that's it's an illustration that I wanted to make because I believe that we are in a time right now where Christians are really being challenged. They're being challenged to go deeper. They're being challenged to walk in that leadership, in those leadership callings. And you may think that you're not a leader because you're not, sitting behind a microphone or standing up on a platform or a manager somewhere or whatever. Let me just tell you something. If you're a mother or father or grandmother, or you go to work somewhere, you're a leader. You have a calling. You have a calling to walk in the lane that God has placed you in, and to fight that fight, and to go into battle in the ways that God is calling you into battle. So don't think that because you haven't been anointed king, um, or CEO of something, that you don't have a calling to make a decision every single day to put on that armor and to go into battle, because you do. And one of the things that I've seen with a lot of Christians right now is that they're really playing victim. They're acting like they're just sitting around and wringing their hands and clutching their pearls and going, woe is me, somebody come and save us. Well, um let me go back to this scripture. It happened in the spring, at the time when kings go out to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel. There is no question in this story of whether there's going to be a battle. It is the time when kings go out to battle. It wasn't happenstance. There's always going to be a battle. And so as a believer, there is a call on you every day to make the decision. And right now, especially, this is the season of battle. This is the season of warfare. And so, where are you positioned? What decision are you making? Are you tuning out and waiting for somebody to come and rescue you? Are you binge watching Netflix and just waiting for this all to blow over and to be fixed? Guess what? You're being called. You are being called to armor up and to walk in the lane that God is calling you in. Every single person is an influencer. Every single person has a sphere of influence. And so, I really want to exhort you to dig deep and find out, and really seek God. Take some time, because, I see a lot of uh, victimhood, for lack of a better word. And it has to stop, because, it's one thing to have it happen 30 years ago, where the teaching that was coming about was this, that the church stays in the church, that separation of church and state, or whatever that nonsense was. That the time for that is past. I think it's very obvious that we are seeing the aftermath of those decisions, and it's not pretty. And so the political mountain, the business mountain, the education mountain, the entertainment mountain, all of these areas, you, me, everybody is being called to take these places back. And you can't do that by sitting and wringing your hands and living in fear and being worried about every single thing that comes about. You just can't do that, and waiting for a white knight to come and fix it all, or saying this is the end of the world and Jesus is going to come and everything is all going to be better and I don't have to worry about it then. That's not what he said. So just be aware of that, okay? Um, this is you're being called to battle. You are being called to a place of battle. So don't do what David did. And if you did that, if you're one of those people that felt like you shouldn't bring your faith into the workplace or anything like that at that time, repent and understand that God has called you to be salt and light. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to work. I mean, you still have to use wisdom, right? And this is something that I think Bill Johnson teaches about really well, is that the way that you live your faith is salt and light. It doesn't mean that you go up to everybody at work and beat them over the head with the Bible and say, I'm a Christian, let me tell you about it. That the way that you live your life and the things that you invite people into are going to be a testament to that. So there's a balance, all right? But I just, and the thing, the Bible says that the world will know us by our love for one another. And that's one place to start as well, because, there's a lot of mudslinging that's going on and a lot of accusation that's happening between believers. And I mean, I just had an example of that in my Facebook chat. Somebody was accusing me of not caring about something because I wasn't talking about it at that moment, and I asked them to remove something from my chat. That kind of thing, that accusing spirit, that has to stop. We cannot function and win this war at a much deeper level if we are attacking other believers. That's if we're allowing a religious spirit to get into the mix. And so I really just wanted to I really just wanted to point that out, because it's something that I've been thinking about, and I apologize for messing up the story in the beginning, but I think you get my point, is that it was a very conscious decision that David made, which was to stay home. And so what are you going to do? Are you going to stay home when there is literal actual battle going on, or are you going to engage? Are you going to armor up and walk into the place that you've been called to? That's my question. And I think that's a question that God is asking a lot of believers right now. And it starts with not just the obvious stuff. Some of the obvious stuff, which I do all the time, some of the civil disobedience, like, walking around without a face covering on, things like that. I'm talking about the next level. I'm talking about, you know, um, really praying about how you're going to get involved in your community. And from a spiritual standpoint, just armor up and stop complaining and stop whining and stop living in worry and allowing fear to control you. It's just, that's not who you're called to be. That's not who we are. I mean, if you're worried about the 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 political stuff that's happening, if you're worried about the shot, if you're worried about this, the Bible literally says, do not worry or fear, do not be anxious for anything. So you got to repent for that. You can't live in that constant state of worry and fear. Either God is God or he's not. He's either all powerful or he's not. He's either capable of overcoming these things or he's not. He's capable of guiding you. He's capable of giving you wisdom and revelation to go the next step, to walk another day, to be victorious another day, or he's not. You have to decide. So, thank you for praying, Vicky, on YouTube. All right. Now, I'm seeing from the chat here, I think there's agreement. If you come back after the fact, by the way, please leave a comment. I do try to read the comments in the chat. There are some people who come back after the fact, and they decide that they want to they want to make all their comments after the fact. I think because it's a passive aggressive scenario where they don't actually want to confront me in the live chat, which I think is kind of interesting. And I think you know who you are, but that's your choice. So far too many church leaders are building empires and not God's kingdom. That's true, yeah. And I think that a lot of those leaders are actually going to see a real demise and a real decline in what they're doing because they're not building on the rock. They are building on sand. And I think it's going to come down. It really is. I really believe that. Okay. So yeah. Any other questions or comments about that? I wanted to read you something that I came across earlier today. It's an article. I don't. Has anybody been following the situation in Georgia about the election law? The Major League Baseball has left. They've decided to take the All-Star game out of Atlanta and move it to Colorado. You've been following that, and it's because they said that the new election laws are racist. Let me make one thing clear. When it comes to topics like immigration and elections and equality and things like that, let's just make it clear that the left they're masters at rhetoric. They're so good at twisting ideas, and because they control the media, they're constantly pushing lie, one on top of another. And they'll tell the public that the new voting laws in Georgia are racist and restrictive, and they're this and that and the other, and all of these things that are 100% lies. And because they control the media, everybody believes that. And so now the corporate world has decided to pile on. And there was an article, and so Major League Baseball decided that they're so woke that they're going to move the All-Star game out of Atlanta. And here's the thing that's interesting. So let me just ask you, if your company is making decisions that are in protest to racism, for example, the George Floyd protests, and the Major League Baseball moving the game to Colorado. If your company is making that decision based on rampant racism and inequality, then how come every time you make a decision to do something in answer to racism, how come it ends up hurting the Black community the most? Please explain that. Explain how your explain how your behavior and your wokism in response to perceived racism is helping the Black community. It just like the Black Lives Matter raised millions and millions of dollars for racial inequality and racial justice. And it was reported that the head of Black Lives Matter is now living in a multi-million-dollar home. That's not okay. And so let's look at Atlanta. The All-Star game is a multi-million-dollar business opportunity for the business owners in Atlanta, many of whom are Black. And so we're 1 year on from a total and complete shutdown, lockdown, which did tons of damage to businesses, Black-owned businesses. And so now, in protest to so-called racist voting laws, which aren't racist, which actually expand voting hours, which actually make it easier for people to vote, just harder to cheat. In response to that, they are now moving the entire game to a city that has a much smaller percentage of Black-owned businesses and a much smaller percentage of Blacks in general, and that has stricter voter ID laws. Does anybody know really why they did that? 50,000 jobs lost. And let me just explain something. When it comes to events like this, all right, every city, not every city, but cities that have big events like this, for example, New Orleans, Mardi Gras. My niece lives in a town where they have a festival in the month of May. When any town or city that has a major event that they look forward to all year, for example, in Washington, D.C., the Cherry Blossom Festival, which was canceled this year for no reason whatsoever, okay? That hurts businesses way more than you can imagine, because for many people in those areas, that is like a summer tourist season packed into one weekend or 1 week or whatever it is. And for some people, that is their income. That is their income literally for the year. They're planning on making income. I'm serious, guys, for vendors, for businesses, for restaurants. I mean, they staff for this, they prepare for this, because this is the height of their income for the entire year. That's how Mardi Gras is for a lot of people. That's when they work. It's just like when people go up to work on the fishing boats in the Northwest, things like that. It's a season. It's a short season. And so, they know this. The people that are running these corporate entities, they know this. They understand this. And so what is the agenda? What is the agenda behind pulling the business out of these areas? What is the agenda behind allowing rioters, also known as Antifa, to destroy Black-owned businesses in Minnesota, in Minneapolis? What is the agenda? The agenda is to destroy the middle class, and in particular, the Black middle class, because the small business sector is really the backbone of America. And one of the things that President Trump did really well during his 4 years is that he strengthened the Black business community, small businesses in general. But unemployment among Blacks was at the lowest ever historically. Unemployment among Hispanics was the lowest ever historically. That's something to think about. And so now you have a political party that has co-opted the media and has now co-opted boardrooms and CEOs around the country, and they are now calling the shots, and they are making it. They're making decisions that they're saying these decisions are pro-Black, and that they are anti-racist, and every single thing that they're doing is destroying the middle class. They're the Black middle class. They're destroying their businesses. There are people in Minneapolis, business owners, who will never open again because of what was done, and because of the damage that was done. A lot of them, insurance doesn't cover the damage that was done, because it was riots. And so these people are left with nothing. And, do you think that they got PPP money? Do you think that they got those loans? I doubt it. I doubt it. And a lot of the people, the SBA didn't make it easy for people uh, to get those loans, unfortunately. And so, so what they're trying to do, it's not just a matter of destroying the um, the uh, the black middle class. They want to push them back onto the plantation because they want to get them into such a state of desperation that now they think they need government money to survive. That's what they want. They want a universal basic income, which is also known as socialism, so that they can control the people. They want to control the masses. That's just that's what this is about. And so now they're taking it a step further. They're taking it a step further, and they're they're actually the CEOs of these major companies are banding together, and now they're going to punish the states that have taken a stand and that are working to enact stricter voting laws, which in many cases are red states, not always. But so now they've had a roundtable discussion over the weekend. Did you see this? This was so representatives from this was over the weekend. Representatives from Twitter, the NFL, and airlines, which held thousands of jobs hostage to rake in billions in coronavirus bailout money masked as stimulus, joined the call with dozens of other high-powered businessmen to strategize how to punish states in pursuit of common sense election reforms after a November contest in which Democrats radically rewrote rules with last minute regulations, in many cases, regulations that contradicted state laws. So, what they're doing is they are uh, threatening reprisals towards states, just like they did in Georgia, towards states that basically aren't allowing them to steal elections anymore. Yeah, it was 100 CEOs. Yeah, crazy. And so, so they said, so they're. Let me just skip ahead here. Okay, other corporations began to pile. This is about Georgia. Corporations began to pile pressure on Georgia lawmakers to reverse course while intimidating politicians and others from pursuing the same reforms. Georgia-based companies Coca-Cola, Aflac Insurance, Delta Airlines released statements condemning the new rules lied about in the press as congressional Democrats rammed through the largest federal takeover of elections in recent memory. News of Saturday's call shows the episode likely to repeat in other states where corporate conglomerates are prepared to launch a campaign against voting integrity. So this is interesting because what they're doing is they are actually taking over. They're stripping people of civil liberties in the name of equality, basically. So it says, if this works, the pressure on voting laws will be tomorrow's pressure on gun laws and next on immigration laws, abortion laws, and education laws. So what they're saying is that if we reform and place law and make laws that they don't like, that don't align with their ideology, they're just going to punish that government, and they're gonna move their business somewhere else. They're going to withdraw their business. They're going to make it hard for the governors to sign the legislation. They're going to make it hard for them to reject their threats and bullying. And so it says soon, woke corporate boardrooms will be weighing in on every facet of American life. That's the existential threat to American liberty flying under the radar. Americans think they're somehow special and immune from tyranny. The United States has a long tradition as a beacon of freedom. The nation was founded on a revolution to overthrow a despot, and the Constitution protects individual rights. The United States, however, isn't invincible. The blessings of a free society might also contribute to its downfall. Massive private enterprises have cracked the code on how to compromise free enterprise. Corporate powers are engineering an opposition campaign to states passing needed electoral reforms. Tech oligarchs ruling from Silicon Valley have suppressed debate on lockdown measures. Cultural currents manipulated by corporate America have shifted the Overton window to bend the populace into allegiance with the exhaustive wokism bred on university campuses that produce the executives who demand it. Um, so this is the part that um, that is really irritating. A large part of the American population has now exposed themselves as sheep willing to do whatever people in power tell them, cloaked in the moral righteousness of saving lives and social justice. Many don't see the erosion of liberty because it's coming from corporate boardrooms capitalizing on the culture war, not government as usual. The former is driving the latter. So that's really key. Um, I think that it's a really key point worth noting, because you know Americans and people in the Western civilization, by and large, have allowed this. They've acquiesced to all of the rules that are being made by private companies. They're, for example, people who want to travel are just going ahead and getting the shot so that they can travel, even though fundamentally they're opposed to being forced to have the shot to do anything. They're giving in because they don't want the inconvenience. And so, unfortunately, Americans are sacrificing their civil liberties for convenience on a large front. And then the other thing too is that they don't actually know the law. They don't know their rights. And so they don't even have the wherewithal to fight. They don't know, for example, people who work in stores don't know that they don't actually have the authority to force an individual to cover their face. Um, but they haven't taken the time, or they haven't received the education that positions them to take a stand on those things. So that's a topic that I think warrants further exploration. Um, I mean, it's definitely something to think about. And so this article, it's in my Telegram. I'm going to put it on my Telegram page, Mary Grace Media Official. Make sure you're following that, Mary Grace Media Official. You don't have to get a special link to follow that channel. You can follow, and I just posted that article there. I'm not posting much on other social media, so if you're wondering where to see what I'm seeing and what I'm sharing, it's on my Telegram channel, Mary Grace Media Official. One of the things that people really need to start doing is getting educated and really standing up to these corporate bullies, and taking back your freedom, or taking your business elsewhere. I mean, there's a store that I had a really bad experience in, and I talked a little bit about this. I'm not a boycott person. However, because of the current situation, and because these woke companies are really actually under the control of another, in my opinion, they're kowtowing to a foreign entity. Um, I think that it is important that I boycott. And this particular store that treated me so badly. My family has shopped there for generations. I've dropped them. I won't shop there again. I won't recommend them. I've actually returned things, a lot of things that I bought there, and as far as I know, I won't ever shop there again. And there comes a time when you do have to take a stand, and this is the time. Uh, this is the time. And so people are going to make some decisions. I actually talked to my gym last week. Did I tell you guys this? They, I think I did, but I talked to somebody at the gym because I wanted to go start working out again. And they said that I asked them about the mask thing, and I said, "Hey, I can't wear a mask, and I just want to know what the policy is." And they said, "Well, you don't have to wear a mask on the exercise floor. Nobody does. There's only certain times during the week that are mask days." So dumb. But other than that, you just have to wear it like moving around the club and in the locker room. I was like, I can't do that. I'm not going to do it. I have a medical exemption. And then they said, and this is a club that I've belonged to for years and have always supported. And I said, well, I don't want to be bullied by anybody that it thinks that they can tell me what I have to do medically. And so I just want to know that I'm going to be able to come and move about freely. And they said, that's fine. We'll put a note in your account. And so just bring a doctor's note. And then I said, well, I'm not going to do that because I'm not required to by law. And my medical information is protected from you and everyone at the club, including the people that are checking people in at the front desk. None of you have a right to know my medical condition. I'm protected by HIPAA and by ADA law. And he wasn't aware of that. And he said, "Oh, that's the first I've heard of it." So he was going to check with his superiors about it, and I haven't heard back from him. But here's the thing, guys, you can respectfully have these conversations with people. He didn't even know. He should know because he's running membership in a club, but he didn't. And so you got to start having those conversations. Some of it is just about educating people and saying, I have a right to be there. I'm a paying member and I have a medical reason and I'm protected by HIPAA. And furthermore, every single member of your club should be protected. And at no point should anybody ever know the medical status of any of your members, regardless of what it has to do with. That's federal law. And so the sad thing is that people have no idea. They just don't know. And just like when I went to Target one day and I got harassed by the manager and I looked at their policy on their website, which says that you have, exemptions. And I said, you cannot allow other customers to bully you into forcing customers to do what they want. So, um, uh, yeah, it's crazy. All right, I'm reading this comment on YouTube. I went to a dental cleaning today and did not wear a mask, and I got all the way to checkout before someone said, "Oh, do you have a mask?" They gave me a paper one, and I chuckled to myself. That's hilarious. Yeah. And in some cases, they're just like conditioned. It's crazy. Okay, so I don't want to get too bogged down on that, but I think that it is a matter of education, and we really have to not give in to this, you know? Um, so I think that's it for now. I've got to sign off here, but I wanted to tell you, some of you emailed me over the weekend about the superfoods. I just had a really full weekend, so I apologize that I haven't gotten back to you. I have vouchers for superfoods. You can save over $100 off of your 30-day reset with superfoods. And if you're a customer already, don't forget to put your order in, especially if you have an order with standard shipping, because I'm hearing that those orders are taking like 10 days to 2 weeks. It's crazy. It's pretty much a FedEx thing. They're just taking everything like on a slow boat around Africa, or South America. It's crazy. So just be aware of that. And if you are wanting to get superfoods from me, this is a great time to do a reset. The weather's getting warmer. It's just a good time to shed that weight, to get your energy back. I got to tell you guys, I went to a wedding on Saturday and I ended up helping, and I was running around like all day at the wedding. And normally, because I have an autoimmune condition, I would have been kind of sore and maybe even pretty exhausted the next day. But because of my superfoods and because of the regimen I'm on, I really, it was just a regular day. The day after the wedding, I was fine. And so, just that's something too. So if you're, low energy, poor sleep, aches and pains, joint pain, wanting to lose weight, wanting to clean up your diet, getting the Rona 15 off your body or 30 or whatever it is, this is the time. So send me a message, info@marygracemedia.com, info@marygracemedia.com, and you can get a voucher. And if you do the 30-day reset, you're going to save over $100 off retail on that. It's a really good program. And yeah, and keep in mind, even if you use the 2-day shipping, that if you order on a weekend, it's going to take longer than it's like business days. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay. So, and especially because the 2-day shipping is FedEx, and they don't really deliver on weekends to residential. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, info@marygracemedia.com. Can somebody put that in the Facebook chat? Info@marygracemedia.com, and just put superfoods in the subject line, and I will get you that voucher. I will answer my email. I'm leaving tomorrow for my trip, so I'm a little busy, but I'm going to get you that information, info@marygracemedia.com. Don't wait. I mean, this is just the superfoods it's really changed my life. I told you guys last week about the kamut, the wheatgrass that I started taking. I mean, I don't know if you notice how clear my head is. Like normally this time of year, I've got allergies, my eyes are puffy, my nose is stuffed up. I am so happy with my superfoods and with the added kamut. If you order the superfoods, ask me for the link to the kamut. It's a wheatgrass blend, but it's amazing, just unbelievable. Okay, I did not cover George from last night. I apologize. Somebody put some of the stuff in my Telegram. And let me tell you about George. There is someone who started a George chat channel. Somebody is writing out all of the questions and answers that George is answering. Whoever did that, I just love you. Let me see if I can find it because I followed it. I didn't add it to my favorites yet. Hold on a second. Do you remember that? Linda, did you happen to see it? Somebody shared it into my Telegram chat and I was looking at it, but that was way earlier this morning. That was before I went out with my dad. Um, oh, you guys want to hear a funny dad story while I'm looking for this? So funny. Um, Oh, by the way, anybody that's following Ann Vandersteel, Christy, it's her birthday. All of you know Christy. Okay, you're getting the juice bar. The juice are so good. Listen, here's a good juice combination. The can't beat this. The kamut. The kamut doesn't come in the juice bar in a bag, but just order it. You're not going to regret it. The kamut, fresh lemon, and the cocoa hydrate. So good. I'm having that every morning. I have it twice a day. Love it so much. I'm taking it with me on my trip. All right, let me find this thing. So can't beat this kamut blend, cocoa hydrate, which is a coconut water electrolyte, and what else did I say? Fresh lemon. So good. Okay. Yeah, Major League Baseball does require ID to pick up the thing. Can somebody find that George News chat? It's not an official George News channel. It's somebody that has taken it upon themselves to go and write down and transcribe all of everything that George says during those live chats. It's so good. Now I can't find it. If I find it, I'll share it to my channel. So go follow me, Mary Grace Media Official on Telegram. And then again, if you're just coming in, make sure that you go to info@marygracemedia.com so that you can get the voucher so that you can save over $100 off retail on your 30-day superfoods reset. Now, if you need to lose a lot of weight, do the 90-day reset. I mean, just reasonably, that's what you should do. Let me tell you a funny dad story. So I took my dad this morning. A couple weeks ago, we did yard work, and my dad's 83, for those of you who are new here. He's 83. My mom passed away in September, so I'm, looking out for him, trying to keep him active. And he and Barley, they do their thing. They're probably napping right now. But so he was doing yard work with me a couple weeks ago. He kind of hurt his back, and then he was hobbling around, and so I took him to the chiropractor. I have a very good, we have a really good relationship with our chiropractor, and so I took him in, and we went like twice that week because he was in pain. And then he was also doing the zero gravity treadmill, which they have there, which is awesome, which it took the pressure off. And so then within a few days, he was feeling better. He didn't need his little walking stick. He wasn't hobbling around. I was icing it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So today, since I'm leaving on a trip, I said, we need to go to the chiropractor and get adjusted. And we're on the way there. And he goes, well, last week I was taking him to exercise, and he goes, is he going to crack my back this time? I said, no. But then today we went, and I said, hey, we're going to get our backs adjusted. And he goes, why? And I was trying to explain it to him, right? He's 83. So he goes, he's going to beat on my back again. I was like, pretty much. Yeah. And so he goes, why? So I'm explaining it to him, right? I'm trying to explain the whole thing about the chiropractor. And so we go to the chiropractor. He acquiesces, right? He's like, okay, fine. So I can hear him in the next room, and the doctor comes in, right? And he goes, hey, how you doing? And our doctor, he doesn't do a lot of like slow warm up to adjusting. He just comes in and he like adjusts your back. And so so I can hear my dad. He goes, oh, well, thanks for hurting me there, doc. So funny. And the doctor's like, oh, yeah, anytime. It was pretty funny. I mean, you just have to know. It's like they treat him so good there. Everybody loves him. And so I told him he has to go back this week just to do his exercises. He's not going to have to get adjusted again. But I said, look, this is like keeping your car tuned up. You have to keep all of the circuits open so you don't hurt your back again. And I asked him, I said, hey, listen, your back felt better, didn't it, after the last time? He goes, yeah. So, pretty funny. Okay, you guys are talking about the George thing. George, yeah, the George Q&A. Listen, George takes his chat down. We already know that. Okay, so the George chat only lasts like 24 hours. The YouTube channel, those are up. You can go back and watch that and look at the chat. But what I'm saying is that somebody independently of George on Telegram made a channel that they are posting the they're what do you call it? They are transcribing all of the chat, the good stuff from the George YouTube. That's what I'm saying. So Linda found it. Linda found it. It's called George. Okay, Linda put a link on YouTube. Can anybody link it? Here, I don't know if I can copy the link. Can somebody put that link in Facebook? That would be great. All right, I'm going to go. I will see you guys next time. My broadcasting from the trip, from the event in Tulsa, will be sporadic. So thank you for being here. Don't forget, info@marygracemedia.com. Don't miss your superfoods. Get your order in this week so that you can do 2-day shipping and get it by like Thursday. That would be so awesome, wouldn't it? Don't miss another day. All right, I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for the chat, and I appreciate everybody being here. And I will check in later. Have a great day, everybody.